I mean, since there's literally nobody else here, there's no harm in unmuting. Hi, Sarah.
Hi. Hi, Martha.
Hello.
Hi, Jackie.
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
Good.
Carlo said he would be late or might not make it, and Margaret said she would be late and join on Zoom. So
Sandy's usually here. Like,
Yeah, Sandy.
yeah.
And Kate? I didn't hear anything from Kate.
I didn't hear anything from Kate either, so I assume she's coming.
Okay.
Saw her at Connected Rifle thing last week, so I talked with her about the meeting. Let's see. I just remember there's Sandy.
Hello, hi guys.
Yep.
Yeah, I tried to walk into that one, but it didn't look like the right staff person.
No. Nothing wrong with Andrew, but
What meeting is it?
CBDC.
Speaking of which, I happened to be watching TV and it was tuned to RCTV and you guys were presenting to CPDC. It was a rerun of that meeting. They gave you guys a hard time.
You know, it was weird because it was so late. I think it was 11 o'clock, wasn't it, Sandy?
Wow.
Yeah, it had been a brutally long meeting already.
Yeah,
I
Yeah.
kept hearing people say it's late and they kept wanting to ask you more questions.
Yeah. But
And they had interrupted your slide presentation to ask you questions before you got to the how much will it cost us slide. It was only the
yeah,
how much do we get slide that they were questioning.
there were a couple of guys who were kind of jumpy.
Yeah.
I should have known better, but I think it went okay. I mean, that's just my opinion, but.
yeah.
You know, if Guy Manganiello of CBDC did not want to develop those lots on Grove Street, I would not be here, and it's entirely possible this committee might not be here.
And he's on CPDC.
On CBDC,
Well,
yes.
he was the guy on the video call. He
Yeah.
wasn't there in person. And he came out of the box really strong.
Which in
I
retrospect, I was
didn't
like,
see the
oh, I should have.
beginning, I saw like halfway. You were on the slide with the how much would the state give us and how much would we get, the 1%. That's where you were when I tuned in, and you were there for a long time.
Yeah, again, like I when I saw Sandy last week at the library, I apologized because I hadn't made that connection in advance. I was like, wait a second, he's on CPDC. That the guy who introduced me to CPA inadvertently
Me too,
by being on the other end of it.
me too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was at town meeting and Will Finch spoke up and said, if we had voted CPA, we could afford to buy these Grove Street lots. I was like, what's CPA? I have never heard of it.
I was about to say CPA passes, we can send him a thank you note. Anyway, all right. It is now 7:30 and there are now 5 of us. And if I call this meeting to order, I don't have to fret too much about whether or not the conversation we're just having is in the scope of this committee. So let's do that. Let's call to order. We are hybrid, so we'll do the roll call thing. Sarah,
Here.
Sandy?
Here.
Kate,
Present.
Martha,
Here,
and Joe Carnahan here. There are literally no members of the public to comment, so no public comment. But we get to make our own comments if people have any liaison reports back from their respective committees. If it's outreach to a committee, then we've got that's coming up on the agenda later, but.
nothing.
Well,
I mean, I
have you
think
been
I
here
already
since,
told you.
yeah, but have you,
Have I done it?
does
in the meeting?
everybody know?
Oh, okay. At a recent conservation meeting, not the most recent, but one before that, the Conservation Commission was asked to vote to support CPA. And in fact, it was 3 against, 2 in favor, which was very disappointing.
Yeah.
And it was again, one of these meetings that was after 11 o'clock at night, and so if we had had more time at that time to discuss it, I think we might have not been left wondering why people voted that way, or maybe they wouldn't have voted that way, but I didn't have the wherewithal to say, let's delay this vote till the next meeting. So, and one of the people spoke to me afterwards and said, I don't get involved in politics, and that's why he didn't want to vote to support the CPA going to select board and stuff like that, and I don't have an answer to the other 2 people's choices.
Do you have a theory or intuition or?
One person muttered before we voted, let the voters decide, which seemed to me like,
Exactly what we were hoping they
What
would
we
say.
were
yes to.
And yet they voted
Exactly the
no.
point of view that they were asked to
Right.
endorse.
Upside down.
And
Okay.
so-
Oh, wow.
yeah, so I was glad to hear you clarify for the CPDC. We're not asking you to necessarily endorse this, but
Yeah.
just to approve that we take it to select board, because had I
At minimum.
said that, we might have gotten a different answer.
Yes, they're literally not allowed to endorse it to the voters, so clearly that's not the question being posed. But yes, they can endorse it to town meeting or to the select board.
Yeah. So, and have we heard back from any other places we've been to see if they voted any way? And so when they voted not to send it, I didn't even ask them what amount they would want to
I mean,
send.
that is
It was
a,
kind of a moot point at that.
I'm opening my spreadsheet of visits, so let's see, so there was, there was CPDC, which we talked about, and they, as far as we know, haven't done any voting. I don't know, I didn't even look to see if it's on their agenda right now as we speak. But we did not end up presenting to the finance committee, more on that in a minute. We did go to the Affordable Housing Trust Fund.
Very warm but limited reception there.
Right.
Margaret and I went there.
And how do you mean limited?
As best I could tell, there was really only one board member there, other than Margaret.
Okay,
We had Andrew and what's her name? Blanking out on his assistant's name.
Olivia?
Olivia, yeah. And Margaret and who else was there? I think that was it. Oh, there was someone.
Pat Egan talked to me about your presentation there, so I'm assuming he was there.
Yeah, he was the only one that, other than, there was someone on the screen who was, I guess was on the trust board, whose name I can't recall.
So you couldn't have called to order.
And they were very receptive. We actually stayed for quite some time, at least an hour. It was very conversational, and very warm, and I think they probably will take it up, and I assume they would give us a thumbs up in terms of stepping up the process, if not also the substance. And then we had the housing authority. I reported on that last time.
Yeah, that was earlier, yeah. So, all right, yeah, we have some more on our list of, I've got, because this is how I roll, I have a spreadsheet of committees that we try to reach out to, dates, who was supposed to talk to them. Second one, I try to play a double header on Wednesday, but again, more on that later. Yeah, so we still haven't talked to rec, bylaw, library trustees. Sarah, did you talk to cemetery trustees? Is that a thing? No, there's celebration.
I'd love to talk to cemetery trustees. I mean, I don't know anything about that group. I think it's interesting, and I know the cemetery is crumbling in some ways.
Yeah.
So, but I talked to, I think, did I already report that I had talked to the historical commission and that was all positive? I don't know if I did that last meeting. I forget what the date of that was, but and then okay, then Celebration Trust. I think it was October 8th, we had that last meeting. Hold on a second, I can pull up the, yeah, Celebration Trust was unanimous in favor, and I was trying to reach out to, I think a lot of you know Kurt Habel. And Kurt was one of the people I didn't realize was part of the campaign for the CPA back last time. Well, anyway, he's in the celebration. He's in the Celebration Trust. He's a painter in town, and his specialty is historical painting. And he said he had recently actually, I think he said he completed a CPA project for, I think it was Georgetown. I can't remember. But anyways, I had left him a message. Can you give me the details so I can share them with the meeting? And he hasn't responded to me yet, but it was my bad. I should have reached out sooner. But so I thought that was interesting that, you know, he's actually worked on CPA funded projects. So, yeah.
Cool. So we kind of, we meandered from liaison reports into outreach committees and organizations. Let's just continue that topic since we're there. Or actually, no, I'll, you know what, because I just realized that's a big topic because there are other people we haven't talked to yet that we should talk about. So I'm gonna pause that and say, Sandy, you did an example of a CPA project. I am curious to hear what you did.
Okay. There were a lot of different ways I could have gotten to this. But just to reduce it, I went with something very basic. That's been done in a number of different places in different ways. And it's tree planting. When I look around town, I think the character of our town would be enhanced if we actually had more shade trees along roadways. And there was a fund that could be drawn on by any number of groups, including the tree warden most notably, to do what he does in parks and cemeteries. That's Michael Hannaford. So I went to what's probably familiar to some, if not all of you, which was the CPA data bank. And they have a little menu for projects, and you can key in towns and dates and subject matter and keywords and draw on their database. And so up among many others came a handful of municipalities who in the last 4 or 5 years have done tree planting. One was Boston, one was Ashland, one was Concord, another one was Medford, Newburyport, Northampton. And it ranged from, we just want to allocate a portion of the community preservation fund for tree planting without specification. Others did inventories of their trees in town, the notable ones. They might even get plaques to indicate what the species is or how old they are. Others do a tree census, which is probably more elaborate. The one that kind of caught my eye and I had heard about before and was sort of in the back of my mind was Concord had done it for this past year for their celebration of the bicentennial of the Battle of Concord.
250, but yeah.
This would be the semi-centennial.
Yes.
Okay, half of 500.
Right.
And actually, that's coming up for more than Concord next year. So I expect that it will get a nod. And a lot of this stuff, interestingly enough, is historic as well as open space. National Park Service, for example, has I think it's a $10 million grant program for the quinticentennial. And anything that's on the National Register that you might want to propose an enhancement to is qualifies for grant application at least. And so I also reached out to Michael Hanford, the tree warden. And I had a brief conversation with him. I sent him some information and I was hoping to have a follow-up conversation with him, but I haven't yet. And the one thing in the back of my mind with Mike is that he himself may be a standing member of the Community Preservation Committee because he represents parks. And I had always equated parks with recreation in the back of my mind. I've never thought about it critically. And I think he may be that person as opposed to parks nominating that person. I don't know, just throw that out as a question. It kind of came up in the context of looking for tree projects that are funded by CPA funds, of which there are many. Sometimes there's a sort of a private nonprofit group that kind of works in hand in glove with municipalities, one in Boston called We Tree. And there was certainly that type of partnering going on in Concord, where they used some federal funds, some CPA funds, some private funds that were, they really put together a big program. Interestingly, some of the numbers kind of startled me. They were planting 250 trees for the 250th anniversary. And they spent somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500 a tree for both a big caliper tree, selecting species that they wanted, which were sort of correlated with the location and the character that they were trying to put in place. And then they had a fairly elaborate planting and watering program over the course of a few years to ensure the survival of the tree. So it was a rather elaborate program there. But you could do it, along public ways. You could do it in parks. You could do it in cemeteries. So Mount Laurel, which is National Register. I don't know if they need trees to be planted or replaced, but that might hit sort of both the open space and the historic buttons for you to do it. Anyway, that was what I kind of looked at and a few of the smattering of the things that popped up.
I actually have a question based on something you said there. Because you mentioned the sort of watering and well, I don't know if it's called maintenance or not. I just know that if it's called maintenance, it's not paid for with the CPA. The subsequent activities subsequent to the actual planting of the trees in Concord, are they able to fund those out of the CPA as well?
It looks like they did because they led a contract that included 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I guess
of I'm going to say establishments and survival or
sure.
Thriving type work. And I don't know if they looked at it real finely and maybe they parsed the funds for just buying the trees and putting them in versus other funds or funds from different sources that were used. But it was one contract that included that entire scope. Yeah. So if I do talk with Mike, I'll follow up with a little bit of an add-on report, but he would be one of the staff, the handful of core staff that I think would have interest in he'd be a stakeholder in the whole thing.
Cool. Any other questions for Sandy on that?
Well, the one additional thing that I will throw in is that the sheet which municipalities fill out for all the projects that they put into the data bank has a little category called leverage. And I was interested in finding leverage projects, and trees don't really work that way. Although
You're not doing it. Yes, you're not taking out a mortgage to buy a tree.
Yeah, but that's one of the, I'll call it the financial points that I think would be worthy of putting more effort and information together on. And so the data bank does have that information that you can pluck
Sandy, can I say a word? When I was
Yes.
looking at the database too in the form, I was curious that they had the categories and then they had other. And I meant to look into that and find out what sort of things had qualified under other. So maybe I'll put that as an action item for me for next time, unless
Yeah.
anybody knows the answer. Do you have the form right there?
I have it's the support form. And their project categories are only 4 that I see. Open space, housing, recreation. They split open space and recreation into 2 categories, and historic. I don't see, I have the form, but I don't see other.
I think it might be in their data, you know, how you can search under data. I think online, I think there were some that were listed under other.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
Wonder if that's a gap in the data rather than, it ever being possible for you to successfully submit a project with an other checkbox.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of caveats that CPC put on it. They say at some length that this is not information that they generate or I don't think they even catalog it. I think the form is there, municipalities fill it out, and then it's compiled online and made available. I don't think CPC puts any sorting or other analysis into it.
In fairness, despite that, like coalition sounds very grand, but I understand that CPC is like Chase and one other person.
Mhm.
So like it's 2 people. So they're, they do an awful lot considering that level of staffing. Other. All right. All right, let's get back to, because we already started talking to other committees. I started by reviewing what I had written down for who we were visiting in October. We didn't visit finance, we did visit CPDC. I didn't have it down that we were visiting historical, but we did. What's up?
excuse me, historical's in favor.
Okay. When was that?
I think it was October 8th. We have a meeting next Wednesday, so I think it was we're like the first Wednesday of the month. So.
Okay. Yeah, no, I know you have a meeting on Wednesday because that's we'll get to that in a second with FinCom. Yeah, so yeah, but we can circle back on these, although I suspect that any sort of I foresee the main use of these, symbolic endorsement votes is that we can say, this person, or like this entity, all, took votes to recommend, this to town meeting or this to the select board or something like that.
So I had been communicating, I think it was with Sandy, about what Martha had experienced with conservation, and it occurred to me, how like it kind of reminded me of when they do roll call votes in town meeting, how some people don't like having to reveal their vote, in front of other people type of thing. And so when she said how that one person said, I don't do politics, I could see how some people would not maybe want to say, what their vote is being recorded in a meeting or something. Maybe they have, not everybody in their household is in agreement or something. I don't know. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah, we are on TV.
And it's recorded on YouTube.
Right. But whereas in some of the other committees, they're not broadcast on TV, so you can't watch them vote. You just get the answer. It was 4-1. You don't get the
Yeah.
Yeah, like if it was a matter of
audience.
pushing a button and it was anonymous, I think there'd be less chance of somebody being reluctant to vote for political reasons. That's all. I mean, I understand that.
So
Sarah, what was your suggestion? I can't remember. We had a brief back and forth, and it was around the sort of the ask on the end page of the handout. And you were suggesting an alternative way of putting things forward and getting, I don't know if you were looking for feedback or not looking for feedback.
You know what, Sandy, I feel let me check my email because I'm not exactly sure what I was saying. I feel like I was just suggesting that we do the presentation and not take a vote, but or just say we did speak to all these communities, but I don't know. But and it was kind of crazy because we couldn't really talk, and you know, it was between meetings, and so it was just a thought. I can find it.
Hallway conversation here, 1 second. Yeah. It's an open meeting, but I'm not, but their conversation doesn't have to be.
It's an ajar meeting, right?
It's an HR meeting, the HR meeting law. All right,
I'll just say, while Sarah's looking, that, you know, to my way of thinking, the value is in what sort of feedback we get, whether it's questions or concerns or, you know.
Oh, Sandy, I found it. What I said was, we presented it, and then we would say to the people, if you are in favor, could you please indicate that through an email to the select board? That was what I thought, because then that way, at least the select board would be getting direct feedback rather than just us being the middleman. I don't know. It was just a thought.
But I thought we're not asking them whether they're in favor or not.
Well, that's what we would do.
Are we just asking them, aren't they in favor of it being, of the concept being advanced to a
Yeah.
select
Yes.
board and town meeting?
yes,
Yes, I'm sorry.
that's
Let
the
me,
thing that you can.
So I think you could better
Yes.
language that.
Yeah.
okay, what I have in my text message to Sandy was, we could say, if you are in favor of bringing the CPA, our mission is to get the CPA to town meeting so voters can decide, and ask them if they were in favor of that. That was my thought. Because that really is our mission.
To interrupt briefly, I noticed that Margaret has joined. Welcome, Margaret.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Margaret.
I think asking them to make the effort to send a message to select board is a hurdle that they would have to take, whereas just giving their opinion in a meeting is an
Okay.
easier ask. You know, when people send me letters and say, please write to your senator and congressman, I'm like, oh geez, how do I find the address for the senator and congressman? You know, that I have to go look it up on the website, and, you know, you don't do it. Whereas if the committee chair puts it on the agenda for the next meeting and they vote at the next meeting, we may get 3-2 against, but at least they're there and they vote.
So to be clear, our asking for a vote is to vote to bring it to town meeting? Or is it to vote to have the select board vote to bring it to town meeting?
It could be either. I mean, I suppose we should pick one. And we weren't precise because, you know, we'd appreciate whatever support we can get, I think. So,
Why can't we just say that we presented to all the subcommittees and then leave it there? And if the select board says, well, what did they say? And
Yeah.
we can go from there. I think you're getting hung up on this vote thing, and it's to the detriment of what we're trying to do.
it's fair.
And I think I probably phrased it that I wanted to know if they would vote in support of CPA. And that may be where I
Mhm.
Yeah.
Overreached.
overreached.
Yeah.
Right. So I like your phrasing of, would you support having it go to town meeting is an easier ask.
So our presentation last page should be
Advance out of-
changed.
Out of study
So-
committee.
Speaking of presentations, so yeah, I hadn't touched the presentation in a while, and then I knew about you talking to Pat Egan because I ran into him. Actually, I first ran into him at the beer garden on the Common, and then I ran into him on Tuesday at the library. And at the library, he asked me if he could get a copy of our presentation. I guess there's some private organization that he's with that he wanted to share it with.
So he asked for that, and
Yeah.
Andrew was gonna get it to him.
So-
But, Barbara, do I remember that conversation correctly?
Was that at CPDC?
No, it was
No.
not affordable housing.
Affordable Housing Trust.
Yeah, that's correct.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, what I was gonna say was, following up on his suggestion, I unilaterally sent a copy of a generic version of the presentation that doesn't specify a committee to Jackie and asked her to put it on our website.
Oh,
On
good.
reading.gov/CPA. So if Pat or anyone else asks you for a presentation, it's right there.
Michael Hannaford did, and I had difficulty.
Oh, no,
getting him
okay, yes,
something
well,
he
now
could read.
Now you know, I wish, you know.
Oh, that's great. It's on the-
Me
on the
too. So
website.
yeah,
Perfect.
yes, and reading.gov/CPA, we're not gonna get more memorable than that. So the, yeah, and then, on the subject of the last slide, which has the asks or whatever you wanna call them. Nounding that word still makes me cringe for some reason. I did add, I think I expanded some of the wording to say, vote at a future meeting on whether your committee or organization would support the recommendation of CPA to the select board and town meeting.
Oh. Yeah.
So that's,
Okay,
and then I also included in smaller parenthesized print at the bottom, note that town boards and committees cannot take positions on ballot questions, but they can make recommendations to town meeting and to other town boards and committees. So,
wait, when did you add that?
before I emailed it to Jackie like less than a week ago.
Oh, okay,
Sorry,
Is
this came after the, there we go, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, this came after the Connected Reading event, which is another one of these things we should be reporting on our outreach conversations. Several of us were there. In fact, we're all there. But we can talk about it. So
Did
yeah,
you-
after I ran into Pat there and he asked for the presentation, and before I sent the presentation to Jackie, I added the text you see here.
is this in Google Docs too? Cause I'm,
Oh, yeah, probably.
okay, so, cause that's where I've been going when I've been making them.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, no, I have the one that says, copy and modify me.
okay,
There's a Google Docs version, and that, I think, that does not have it. I'll fix that.
okay.
Let me write down that I should fix that, and I will fix that after this meeting. Fix CPA docs. That apparently doesn't match what I shared with Jax.
And can I add one more thing? What I meant to talk about when we were talking about the CPDC presentation.
Uh-huh.
What happened was we were doing a presentation and all of a sudden it turned into a defense because of the one person. And it seemed to me like we should have just like stopped for a second and said, we're not like the political group here. We are presenting information. It's not time to be assaulted. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, the good news is I'll be surprised if we ever encounter as tough an audience in any of our presentations. Except maybe to the select board, and the select board, formed this committee, they can say whatever they want to us, I think.
Yeah.
But
I think to be fair though, Sarah, I think that's inherent in the information is that at least people are gonna, say whether or not they're pro or con, or give you reasons for thinking one way or leaning one way. And their surmise, which is probably accurate, is that you're presenting with an eye to, at least advancing through the process favorably, whatever the outcome may be. So I don't know how you can split that here effectively between, information that doesn't have an agenda and and something more than that. I just think that you're gonna routinely encounter people that fall one way or the other, and that you should be engaging them, again, if for no other reason, to understand what their thinking is, so that you may be able to get more information that's responsive to their thinking. So I'm in the camp of drawing people out.
Well, I like discussing. I like everybody talking about different perspectives and points, but I don't like having somebody like yelling and being disrespectful. Like that was really awkward and uncomfortable. And I just, I wished that at that time that we would have just paused and said, you know, that's not what this is.
It's almost the chair's job to do, you know?
Okay, I see what you're saying.
There's that,
Yeah.
yes. Speaking of chairs, I should probably like, this is, I think both of you have made the same good points, possibly more than once, so we should definitely move along. In terms of other outreach, so I've alluded to FinCom. FinCom is meeting on Wednesday. I'm aware that it's the same time that Historical Commission is meeting. Don't think it's the same time Conservation is meeting, because Conservation is meeting the following Wednesday, which is a conflict with Reading Open Land Trust. We'll get to them in a second. But yes, are there other folks who would be able or interested in joining and presenting about, giving our CPA presentation to the Finance Committee finally on Wednesday? I know it's short notice. I did, I can't remember who I've talked to already. I think I may have talked to Sandy. Did I talk to you already?
You went back and forth,
Yeah.
you went back and forth, yeah.
Yes, so, but yes, are there other folks who would be, I know Sarah can't make it. I don't know if anyone else could make it on Wednesday.
So I have my calendar, I had committed to, I think, shadow Sarah. And I'm happy to serve any which way, but I honestly don't feel I'm competent yet to lead a presentation to FinCom. I could give it a try, I could give it a try.
I had the same thing in my calendar as you, Kate, which was that you were about to present to historical, not that you had already done so a month ago.
Yeah, that's what I have.
Sarah, do you, what's happening historical on Wednesday? Do you still want or need a buddy on Wednesday for that?
We already talked about it. I'm pretty sure we already did the presentation. Hold on one second. Yeah, I just looked at the minutes and it says vote on CPA approval. So the study, the study group anticipates, with the select board in December. Yeah, we already did.
Huh,
Let me just
Okay.
double check. Unless
All right,
I'm
I'll delete that one.
yeah, all right, that's weird. That's what I had the same thing written down as Kate.
Okay, hold on. Oh, keep going, keep talking.
So,
Wow.
yeah, so then I guess the question is, and partly I'm asking because I'd like more people to come. I'd also like to know if we're at risk of having a quorum. Although actually, oh crap, we're too late, aren't we? Okay, so then actually we have to find out how many people are interested to make sure we don't have too many people come. Because if 4 of us came, that would be too many. And I will have to be there, even though I'm gonna, try to act like the meeting chair and not just the, salesperson or whatever.
I would rather not go, because
Okay.
this is a very busy week for me, so if
Fair?
other people can do it without me, that'd be good.
And I won't be there, so you
Yeah.
don't have 4. So it's,
Well, okay, there's that.
Unless Carlo shows up. Who else is on, Margaret? I mean, we do have some more people on
I'm,
our committee, whether we are seeing them here on screen or not is different. Cause Margaret was here,
yeah, no, Margaret's still on Zoom.
she's still on.
Margaret, I don't know if you,
Yeah, I don't know. I can't bring up my calendar, so I can't
Okay.
tell if I have a night meeting. But when I get to a place where I can, I'll let you guys
Okay,
know.
all right.
Right now, I can't tell.
all right. Let me know. I mean, it is, obviously I try to keep communication outside of meetings, to the bare minimum, but schedule deciding who's, scheduling things, I believe are kosher to discuss outside of a meeting, as in just like, we're not talking about what we're gonna talk about, we're talking about who comes and who doesn't. So I can follow up with, Margaret afterwards, but.
So you'll be at FinCom as the FinCom chair.
Yes, and I certainly can talk about it, but I also certainly don't want to be the only one. And
Yeah, and
ideally, there'd be two besides me.
did we say Sandy was going to present?
I could, I'm not sure I'm the best candidate or co-candidate, but I could. But we need, I mean, all of these things we're teaming, right?
It does,
Well,
it's a good look, I think, to
I
have two
agree.
of us.
Right. But I don't know if we've found the best format yet, teaming, but still a bit of experimenting.
Maybe Kate could go with you guys.
Who, Carlo, who?
Kate.
Oh, Kate, oh, yeah, sure.
I mean, I'm free now.
Okay, yeah, apparently, I was gonna say, you had a calendar hold,
I
but,
had a meeting, but
That's
now I
right.
don't.
okay. So if the two of you can join, and then Margaret, if you would like to join, let me know and I can connect with Kate and Sandy and make sure there aren't too many of us there. But,
I'll let you know.
so, sounds good. All right,
I'm sorry, Joe, what time is that meeting?
7.
I'll be right
Yes.
back. I just have to let the dog outside.
7, here do you guys meet?
What's that?
You guys meet here?
I think that one's the select board meeting room, yeah, we're usually there, but I mean, again, it's. Because Jax also supports that committee, we usually get great conference rooms, so. Yeah. All right, so then the other, one that I have already with a date for is the Reading Open Land Trust. Again, going to these events pays off. I saw Bob Connor, president of the Reading Open Land Trust at the Bear Garden and at the library, same places I saw Pat. And talked about CPA both times, and eventually did connect with him over email and got an invitation. Right now, Sarah and I are set to go to their meeting on the 12th.
Which conflicts with conservation,
Exactly.
so I won't
I
be
knew there was
there.
no chance of you. If anyone has any particular interest or connection with Rolton wants to come,
I do have, prior,
okay.
I was part of the
I
trust
noticed it
for
seemed like you-
some time,
okay.
and I know Bob fairly well,
Okay,
but it's not necessary. Did he tell me, I'm trying to reconstruct the conversation, that there was already a presentation, but they wanted a redo, maybe for some new members or something?
Yeah, I presented, but back in the spring, before I did my presentation to us.
Yeah, okay,
So it's not the same exact presentation we have here. It didn't have the big spreadsheet of dollars. They were the ones who asked for the big spreadsheet of dollars, and I
Hmm.
Joe.
Yeah.
Joe's background,
so
but
they might be, yes, they may want to quiz me in particular, which is fine.
Joe, what time would that be?
Wait, I have that written down.
and they met in the library when I did it, and I brought my laptop and I just put the laptop on the end of the table and they just looked at my laptop screen. They don't have giant TV.
Yeah, it'll be at 7:30 at the library on November 12th. So I
Okay,
think you're welcome to join. If more than you wants to join. Again, we have a quorum problem, but I'm not. I think we all have enough meetings.
And
would that be the third? Or the-
They
You'd be the
were-
3rd.
Okay.
they were up on the same floor as the reference desk in that sort of room
Oh,
back there.
interesting.
They weren't down in the
In the like conference room.
conference A and B, no, they were on a table upstairs.
That's interesting. Thank you for the heads up. I didn't, I might have wandered
Yeah.
around, right?
Well, hopefully you would have looked at the sign when you walked in and it would have told you where to go.
Oh, that's a good point. I do look at that stuff when I go in.
Yeah.
So,
But just so you know, and so you know that you can't count on them having a projection screen.
fair, that's fine. But I mean, if they ask me for numbers, I'll put them on the screen I have and then I'll have to.
Right. No, they're a small enough group that it worked. I mean, their table they were sitting at is smaller than this table, so we just had the screen on the end and they were all looking at the screen.
Sure. Okay. So other outreach, actually, before we talk about new outreach, did anybody, several of us have said things about the Connected Reading event, which I think all of us were at in one capacity or another. Is there any other thoughts, takeaways people wanted to share here?
I'd like to know what the people who were at the CPA table, what feedback they got, if any, or what the marbles turned out to be.
We got very few marbles, but 1% was the biggest number. It was like 4.
It was 5 to 3 to 1. This was not a this was not a meaningful poll. Yeah, that was a quality versus quantity is how I took it, because there were some good conversations. In many respects, it was a better place to have a conversation than the middle of Haven Street.
Mm,
In the rain.
In the rain, right?
rain. Yeah.
Well, it didn't rain by the end of it, but yes, right at the beginning. Yeah.
One thought on that was, I remarked several times to myself and maybe out loud that there was relatively little traffic this year compared to prior years. That was maybe my read was not correct, but that's what my impression was. And so just standing there waiting for people to come and see if you can, generate a conversation yielded relatively few conversations. And I thought that the better way actually to do it would be to take, the flyer or something and walk around to the people at the other tables and visit them, because they weren't getting too much conversation going either.
Yeah.
And use them as the audience. So instead of people coming to you, you go to them. So.
And there were a lot of people staffing tables.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, if we had talked to every
There were
table.
more people on the
I did,
table than
that's
there were
just it.
between the tables.
I went to the table with Trails and Conservation. I went to the, the school committee table, not that we already talked to the school committee and the vice chair has already expressed her thoughts on the CPA. I had a lovely conversation with her about Killam. And then, but yeah, I went to the, there are various, other groups there that whose tables I went to that could have brought flyers, didn't think about it. Oh well. All right, so looking ahead to other, I think that covers it for people we've already talked to. In terms of who else we need to talk to, I'm standing by on talking to bylaw until they survive town meeting next week, because the snow shoveling argument has taken a lot out of them. My friend Jessie is the chair.
It's gonna take a whole night to tell.
I think she's traumatized by the amount of it is gonna be something. We're literally gonna revise the home rule charter of the town of Reading, and we're gonna pass or not, we're gonna vote on a snow shoveling bylaw. And if I had to bet which one is gonna have a longer discussion,
Oh, yeah.
it's gonna be the snow shoveling
Right.
bylaw.
It's gonna go on and on and on.
Right. Anyway,
And sorry.
so yeah, that's not on topic here. All right, so we've talked about, has anybody been, okay, so recreation is probably the biggest one we haven't talked to yet.
And their meeting was it last Monday or the one before. I was out of town, so not able to.
Yeah,
I've spoken with Jim Sullivan about it back and forth, so hoping to get on this one.
Do they meet once a month?
They meet once a month.
so when's their next one? Or when's your next one?
You know what, it moves.
Okay, oh dear.
But it's typically, I think it's the third Monday.
All right. Oh, yeah, which I guess that's gonna be hard to predict in November. I would have to think I would think they can't plan on the third Monday, because the third Monday could be the third night of town meeting
Right,
if we manage to talk for even more than one night about
Correct.
something.
correct.
Heaven forbid, but
So I mean, I can do that one if I can,
Yeah.
I'm happy to do it solo. If someone wants to come along, that's fine. And just listening to Martha opening the meeting, it got me thinking, Martha, about my committee. I'm not sure how they'll go on the vote.
well, you're not obliged to ask for a vote. That's, I mean, this is,
Yeah,
I mean,
I see it more as informational to them.
Sure.
Because also back to your point, Martha, and I was with Sandy at the Connect Reading, and when we asked a couple of people to do the marble, they weren't willing to do that because they didn't feel they had enough information on it. So maybe your board members or whatever just aren't I don't have enough information yet.
Yeah.
And I think that's a significant issue that we're probably not
Yeah.
giving enough value to.
Problem with the marbles at the library, and I'm gonna take the blame for this one, I'm 100% myself. I had those flyers at the street fair that had, or not flyers, but had a couple pieces of paper printed out that had the numbers, how much would be raised and what the
Right.
state match would be and how much it would cost an average, single family homeowner for each of the different surcharge levels. And I just put those on the table and people could read that and put a marble on it.
Yes.
And they got ripped up when we ripped them off the table, the clean up, the tear down, and I didn't
Yeah.
print new ones.
It is,
And I'm
it's,
kicking myself.
yeah, it's just, they
It's
need
huge.
that kind of,
So-
you know,
Well, we'll have them at town meeting,
bread
more
and
on that in a
butter
second.
information, yeah.
And we gotta keep this moving because we have more outreach.
So recreation, and then Joe, not to interrupt, but I reached out to library trustees
Oh, cool.
and I never heard back from them. But I did speak with, is her name Michelle, the assistant librarian? She came over to say hi to Sandy and I told her I never heard back and she was gonna follow up, so I will follow up with her tomorrow.
And the other, Pat Egan, who I talked to about it and who was is on the Affordable Housing Trust Fund, is also on the board of library trustees, and
Okay.
seemed interested.
So I will, hopefully I can email you this week with updates on those two
That'd be
committees.
awesome. And then again, because it's just scheduling, you can reach out to other people
Yeah.
and get
Okay.
get some backup for you.
Okay, thank you.
Which probably isn't me because I've got like
Yeah,
too many meetings between this week and next week. I mean, I'm doing town meeting 2 nights and roll one night next week, like, anyway. All right, town meeting, speaking of town meeting, I heard back, so I did not remember until I read the minutes from our last meeting that I had agreed to reach out to Laura Gem about the rules around having a table outside of town meeting. And I immediately sent her the email when I read the minutes, and she wrote back to me today and said that, let me just pull it up so I'm not making anything up here. The only rules is that it must be town meeting related. You must get permission from myself and Alan. This is information for the CPA, therefore I am good with it. We ask that you set up a table in the lobby, not blocking the entrance, Performing Arts Center. Also, do not enter the Performing Arts Center area to distribute information. And she CC'd Alan, who did not respond, but I don't, think Alan was concerned about, taking up time in the meeting. I don't think he's gonna be concerned about taking up space in the hallway. So I don't foresee a problem there.
So I would suggest we have a table out in the hallway. We have our stack of color flyers, which we haven't run out of yet.
Yeah.
I don't know that we wanna do our marble
Yeah,
jars.
we don't need, the marble jars is a little bit goofy for that venue.
But our big map with the housing, historical and recreation conservation on it, I think is good, the pillars.
So that,
And this time flyers, charts.
yes, charts, yes. So we
And I'm willing to be there, for the period of time before town meeting, since I'm going to town meeting anyway. I'm willing to staff that table.
Okay. I mean, in some respects, it might be nice to have someone who's not a town meeting member to assist you because you might want to go in at some point.
Yeah,
And I mean, we can pack it up, I suppose, once town meeting starts, but
well, I would say even we could pack it up at the point where the people who are arriving are in a big hurry to check their name off and go in, they're not gonna stand and chat with us.
right.
fair,
So,
Okay, all right.
at 20 after.
all right.
Hi,
Okay.
it's Katie.
25 after.
Sorry, I don't know if
Katie.
you guys can hear me.
Yes, we
I'd be
can.
happy to volunteer if there's a need. I know I'm not a non-voting member of this
No, but
committee, but
that's-
if there's any way that I could help out or participate, I just wanted to throw it out there.
Oh, thank you. No, I do, I did see you on the Zoom. I did see
Yeah.
you there. I figured,
It's been a long day. I'm off camera, but I'm here.
say no more.
Thank you.
All right, yeah, so that, no, that's, yeah, I mean, I imagine we'll just, Do we wanna just do Monday? Do we wanna do Monday and Thursday?
I can't volunteer for Thursday because I'm gonna be the one running in at the last minute on Thursday.
Fair enough.
The. So, but I think it would be a good idea for people who didn't catch us on Monday to be there again Thursday if somebody else could do it.
Alright, so what I've got now,
What's that date?
that would be the
14, 10,
13.
13.
13th. So what I'm writing down, who would be there on the 10th and who would be there on the 13th. Got Martha for the 10th. And Kate, would you like to join on the, or not, sorry, Katie. See, we have a Kate and a Katie now.
Yes. I'd be fine. You said the 13th?
Well, there's the 10th or the 13th. Either one would be a big help. Maybe 13th is an even bigger help, actually.
Yeah, 13th would actually be better.
Cool.
10th is an in-service teacher day, no school, gotta figure all that out, so.
I can do either one.
Okay.
So we need to find a non-town member person for the 10th to help with Martha?
Well, Kate just
I can do it.
volunteered, yeah, right, so that
Okay,
works.
awesome,
And
fantastic.
then, who else, and it can be a town meeting member, probably not the finance committee chair, but who has to sit up front. And therefore really can't run in at the last minute. But somebody else for the 13th.
13th is Thursday.
Yep.
Martha.
I'm not a town meeting member.
You don't have to be.
I was thinking 6:45 would be early enough to get set up. There
Okay,
is
the 13th.
one precinct that's gonna have a
if you want.
7 o'clock
Yeah.
precinct. meeting.
Okay, cool. So we'll plan on,
So if we're
Martha and
there,
Kate
we
on
might
Monday.
catch them.
All right.
I don't,
right.
you think 6:45 before the 7 o'clock precinct meeting?
Yes,
Okay, yeah, you don't need to be that early on
No.
Thursday,
Right.
but on Monday, precincts 3 and 4 are both meetings, so.
What time on Thursday?
I'm not gonna be one of the 2 people, but maybe, although actually I suppose I'll be showing up with a big
I
sign.
suggest 7,
7, yeah.
and you're there from 7 to like 7:25. And okay, so
Alright.
do I pick up the materials from you before Monday
Probably a good plan.
and then pass it on to somebody else by Thursday? Okay, so
I could-
11, 10.
Okay,
Me and Kate at town meeting. And then 11, 13 is who?
Sandy and Katie.
great. So Katie's gonna do both days?
No,
One's
Oh,
Kate, one's Katie.
Oh, Kate, okay, gotcha, okay.
but I'm not the only one. Involved like that a little bit.
That
I
sounds really
think-
good.
It would be better if Kate takes the materials with
Yep.
her.
Because you're
So,
going into the
Yeah,
meeting.
I don't wanna carry the big plastic bag with the poster into town meeting, you know, if it was just a folder, that would be
And
different.
who am I getting it to the next day?
Sandy or Katie?
Okay.
Probably.
I'm at the Reading Housing Authority office by the Parker Middle School.
Okay,
So either I could come to you, or if you're in that area and you wanted to drop it off to the office, that's where I'll be. Although,
Katie, I'll
wait,
drop, I'll
is
drop
that
it
the
off to you.
Veterans Day though, in between?
Oh, that's right. No, yeah,
Yeah, the 11th is
The
Veterans Day.
12th, I'll deliver it to you.
The 12th, yes, okay, perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool, all right, that works, yeah. You have a pretty busy night that night too, at least normally.
Yeah, but I'll
So-
give both, so if you wanted to just leave it behind, I could take it and then just bring it back on Thursday if that's easier, so you guys don't have to run around.
And you could just put it in your car and then arrive with it the next time?
You have to get it from me first.
Well,
Martha,
no,
that's
I
okay. Oh, you
can-
pick things up.
I can
Okay,
bring
right,
it.
You'll get it, you'll get it from me. And
And
then if you took it home on Monday and brought it back on, though I mean, it's a little bit like funky, cause you will be, when it's time to tear down the table. you will already be inside, presumably setting up your computer at the front of the room. So that doesn't position you well to like get a bunch of stuff from Martha and Kate at that point.
We could leave it as a game time decision also. Jax has my email. We speak pretty frequently. If she grabs it, she grabs it. If it ends up at someone else, it's just a matter of communicating that it's with someone else and someone has to go get
Okay,
it.
all right. Between Jax, Kate, and Katie, it's gonna get from one meeting to the other.
Yeah.
And the three of you can negotiate among yourselves. Sounds good. Martin?
I just wanna say, we don't wanna just leave it on the hall, cause it's a black plastic trash bag and it
Yes,
could
it'll
end
go,
up taken
right.
by the cleaners who are there cleaning outside the meeting.
Yeah.
I can show you where I put my stuff during the meeting. It's
Okay.
just off to the side of the stage. I can see it.
Okay, yeah, so if I dropped it inside the door and then went and sat down, wherever you want me to
Yeah.
leave
I
it,
can
yeah,
show you exactly where,
okay.
if that's
All
easier.
right, so I'll bring the bag in, and do I bring it in at the stage door? Not the
Yeah.
back at the
Yeah.
crossbar door, okay. Okay. All right,
Cool. All right, so we have a plan for town meeting. Let me write down, I need to print flyers, I can't possibly forget that again, because oh my gosh, that was not
Do you
great.
need more flyers?
No, this is just my fault, it's not even like, this is just my,
charts,
one chart, there we go, table, one, 0.5, 1.5.
how much does it cost, how much do we get, those charts?
Gotcha.
I already have those, I just need to run off 2 pieces of paper, so. Randy,
Same thing, again, in the slide deck, correct? It's the same.
It's the same content as the slide deck, exactly, so, might even be actually, no, I don't think I don't think I actually printed out the 2 slides. But it's the same content, so. Yeah, and then, and we still have a fair number of flyers, so. I
And
don't
do
think
we-
we need to run off more.
Do we need to get permission do we ask the custodians to set us up a table? I think that's the
Good
easiest thing.
question, I don't know, but I assume, does the town meeting? Okay, yeah, I mean, if the town, like, there's a table there obviously used by, the clerk's office for signing us all in. I'm assuming that didn't come in like the back of Laura Jones' truck or something. That's something from the high school.
Yeah, so if they just would set up 2 tables instead of 1, that would be great. And a couple of chairs would be nice, because when there's nobody talking to us, we can sit down, but
What if you're really pushing it?
when
Living large.
Chairs?
It's like this extravagance. All right, okay, let's sounds like we got a pretty good plan as far as town meeting goes.
Yeah.
We're gonna hear about RAC and try to get some people to it. I saw Sandy was reaching out to Council on Aging and hasn't gotten a reply. I'm not.
I called,
I
I
see who
wrote
the-
twice.
I mean, I don't, it's it's Karen Janowski and,
I was writing also to the senior center director.
Oh, okay.
Kowalowski,
all right,
his first name, thinking that he's the one who sets up the meeting like Andrew does CPD.
Yeah.
He does aging. But I didn't get a response. I called him too, and
well, all right, I mean, I suspect, okay, so Karen is the chair. Okay, John Parsons is the vice chair, it says, I don't know John. I'm gonna go out on a sturdy limb and think Karen is not in a hurry to talk about the CPA. Probably a friendlier audience than Guy, but that's where we put the bar. So, I don't know, I mean, it's interesting, 'cause it's like it's really a fantastic group of people, it's a very diverse group of people in a bunch of, dimensions. So we really need, if we could get there. So I don't know, it's probably worth trying again, but I mean, if they, we can't force them to put us on the agenda, that's also true. That is the, that is the, prerogative of the chair, I think.
couldn't you go as, open comments like every meeting?
Do they do public comment? I don't actually know. It's not actually required. Unless your meeting is a hearing, you're not required to take comments from the public at an open meeting.
Okay.
You have to let people, it has to be open so people can hear you talk. You don't actually have to let them talk, let the other people talk. So,
And if we were doing an open comment, it's generally like no
slides, 2
visuals, no
minutes,
slides,
and-
2-minute limit. Yeah, it's not really
Yeah.
what we're looking for.
I see that they are meeting on the 20th. I see that, oh, they met on the 20th, sorry, they met on the 20th. I'm just looking at their thing. They do not have a public comment section. They've, yes, called to order attendance, approve minutes. They get their select board liaison reports. They go into business. And they future meeting agenda items and adjourn. Oh, yeah. So if they don't want to, yeah, Chris Kowalski, that was the name here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I mean, please keep trying, but please don't, take it personally if nothing happens.
I mean, it's fairly common enough to get a response, I guess.
Yeah, all right, okay. There are other outreaches we want to talk about.
Oh, weren't you gonna talk about the cemetery trustees?
I wrote that, so I still have that down. Did you want to reach out to them?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, please do. And if they tell you they're meeting next week or something, reach back out to me. We'll find you somebody to go with you, or 2 people if you can't make it.
Hey, I'll let you know. I owe you one.
All right. Okay, any other outreach to speak of?
I have a question for FinCom. If
Yes.
does the capital plan, of which I know next to nothing about, is that relevant to? Are they going to be thinking about that as we're presenting CPA to them?
I think so, because certainly part of my own opinions on CPA are heavily influenced by the fact that we have spent something like $10 million on, looking back at the past capital plans, it appears that we spent about $10 million on CPA eligible projects in the last 10 years.
And what portion of that, or is it all of it, that comes through the so-called operating budget, which has the override specter hanging out there
This is
now?
this is all operating budget. It's somewhat confusing because people are like, capital operations are different. Then there's the operating budget, which is different from like like we say we spend 5% of the operating budget on capital. And you're like, is that a contradiction in terms? Whatever. We spend 5% of the operating budget on debt and capital. And that's where the debt, of course, was capital that we bought in a previous year, still paying off. So it's basically 5% on capital, either this year's capital or previous year's capital.
Yeah.
And
Where I'm going with the question is it an accurate characterization to say, and somewhere along the way this came up in discussion, I can't remember where and who it was with, that were you to adopt CPA, technically, you could take that $10 million that has been spent in the past, and you could simply put it over here in a CPA fund and out of the operating budget.
I think that is part of the fiscally conservative pitch for the CPA is, I'm not saying to go crazy with buying things you wouldn't have bought anyway. I'm saying, please buy the things you would have bought anyway, but buy 20% more of them for free.
Yeah. That's the bottom line on it.
Or save 20%, get them on 20% off.
Right, yeah,
Right.
so, yeah, no, that's definitely part of the story.
Now, one meeting, I don't remember who it was asked. Might have been at conservation. Somebody said, I thought if it was already in the capital plan, we couldn't use CPA funds to do it.
It was Chuck.
Okay.
And I looked in the CPC site for something along those lines. I could find nothing. And somewhere I found something that said, if the funds have already been committed outside of CPA, you can't recommit them inside of CPA.
Okay,
Right, the CPA money and the town money are in fact sort of separate pools, you can't, yeah.
so if the town has voted to build a pickleball court,
There you go.
we can't spend CPA money on pickleball because we already voted to build a pickleball. court.
Right. The CPA would
But
not,
if
Now you're
the
gonna ask me
town,
where I found that, and I forget where I found it.
but if this, the town has
Infrastructure.
voted to do that, have they committed the funds at this point?
well,
They have demanded that the pickleball players raise the funds to pay them back.
No, I understand that, but I think voting for building is not the same as we have funded, here's the source of funding. I don't know that it's
think
been
the
identified.
source of funding is identified in the motion we voted on at town meeting, I'm pretty sure.
Right, some of it.
So, I'm also pretty sure that this will all be like, those pickleball courts at Recal are going to be ancient history by the time we actually have CPA money to spend, even if everything goes along as fast as possible pace, so. We're really talking about whatever, whatever 2028's equivalent of 2025's pickleball courts. Will be.
Okay,
And
but
then we can have a conversation then about, is this paid for out of town capital or CPA?
but we have this capital plan where we say in 2027, we're gonna fix the basketball court, and in 2029, we're gonna fix the volleyball court.
That sort of thing, yeah.
But we haven't actually voted the money for
Right.
that yet, so that 2027 basketball court, we could fund with CPA money, because we haven't committed the money yet.
Things, yeah, exactly. Things
Okay.
drop off the capital plan all the time. They get funded some other way.
They
Um,
bump back a couple
Or
of years.
more often, they just don't get done because everything got more expensive and we can't afford it anymore. But yeah, that's,
So those things, even though they're in the warrant in the capital plan looking out 5 years,
yeah,
still qualify for CPA.
sure. If we
Okay,
haven't actually voted to borrow the money for them or to spend the money on them or whatever. If we
Got
do vote on, technically we vote on the capital plan, but the plan is a plan. And I
Yeah.
think as we all know, plans are not, in no area of life are plans really binding as far as I can tell. Or for that matter, followed 100% to the letter.
okay,
I think,
Right.
I think Chuck made too broad a statement when he said that.
Okay.
It's either that or I heard it.
I talked with him about it at Connected Reading a little bit.
Okay,
And he seemed to moderate a little bit relative to what I think he said to you. He's like, well, you can't do anything you can't do maintenance. I'm like, yeah, I know, you can't do maintenance, you can't do operating stuff, yeah, no, I know. Like, it has to be preserving a thing that previously wasn't preserved, basically. All right, let's move along. Speaking of plans, we have an agenda for this meeting, and I'd like to get through it. Especially because the next topic is a biggie, it is arguably the biggie. We haven't talked much about the report. But if this is to go to town meeting in April of 2026, it needs to go to the select board really in January at the latest. So, which means that, we, and, a lot of us are busy with a lot of things the next 2 months, last 2 months of the year. So it's gonna get harder, not easier. But we need to put a report together.
I was
we
gonna,
talked-
I just said, we can do it. We have the great examples from Winchester and Natick, and we have all this information that we've collected, and I just feel like we just gotta power through, we can put together something and.
Yeah,
And I believe I volunteered before, and I'm not gonna,
Well, that's right.
I'm not gonna back off or back away. I have
Yay.
commitment, so.
I appreciate that, because I mean, one of our big limitations was the software, like familiarity with, I already forget the name of the
The
software.
Adobe InDesign.
InDesign, thank you, yes. So if you have access to the software and familiarity with it, then that's huge, because I just can't open, like, I have the things from Winchester and Natick, and I can't so much as open them on my computer.
So
Um,
if you can send them to me, then I can work on getting them open and then figure out
Okay.
a time frame for turnaround and then how to get things out to you guys to then
That would be
make it
amazing,
happen.
That would be amazing, Margaret.
Well, that was the one thing I did committed to months ago. So that's I've been hiding behind thinking, are they ever gonna ask? Maybe I am
I'm
gonna get
sorry,
out
I'm
of
not-
doing
I'm not-
it.
Yeah.
And how much of what's in our current PowerPoint can we use as the basis of the report to the select board? I would think a lot of it.
I mean, I think the hardest part is gonna be pictures.
I don't think that's the hardest part, because we can all supply pictures for the groups who are representing, and there's great pictures in Natick and Winchester, and there was one other one we looked at too. I don't know. We could send it all to Margaret and see what she thinks.
And
she
my
can-
original conservation type PowerPoint had a whole bunch of pictures in it that we didn't use in the one we're
Yeah.
presenting now.
Mhm,
So those are all still there.
yeah,
Alright, so here's what I'm hearing, so I'm trying to think of the, like. This is like Google Docs meets open meeting law train wreck. So I think I'd like people to share any
Pictures.
pictures they have for their respective areas. Share pictures from their respective areas. I'm off the hook on pictures, I'll just have to provide, charts instead. Or charts of applicable.
Can
from
I
there.
just supply Margaret with my slideshow I made last June? And it has all my pictures in it?
Are the pictures easy to get out? I don't know if it's like a,
It's a Google Slides
oh,
show.
then probably, yeah. So yes, so everyone, please share pictures,
What
Does
kind of,
anyone have-
can you give me an example?
Recreation facilities that have been made that the town has already spent money on, that could have been spent CPA funds. Or things that we could do in the future with CPA funds.
there's a form of experience in getting involved with CPA that everybody here but Kate had, and I think we're taking it for granted, which is
Yeah.
reading Natick's CPA report.
Okay.
That thing is held up, rightly so, on the Community Preservation Coalition website as like the platonic ideal of a CPA study committee report,
Okay.
and it is very well done.
Thank you.
So Kate's homework is go look at the Community Preservation Coalition page and the Natick study committee report. We spoke with the guy who drove Natick CPA adoption, Ganesh, yep. And he shared the actual files, which were in this mysterious Adobe InDesign program that I didn't understand. He had also shared those files with Mike Betancourt of the Winchester Select Board, who
Mhm.
drove Winchester's recent adoption of CPA. And he, changed the color scheme to Winchester town colors and used the same thing. So I'm picturing some nice dark red and making this work for Reading.
And are you going to send the Winchester and Natick and everything we got from Michael Betancourt and Ganesh, or?
I will send those to Margaret.
Okay, good.
In terms of people sending things to Margaret, I have Margaret's email address. I don't know if everyone else does.
It's on Jackie's email. She just sent out the minutes to us, the packet.
Oh, okay, all right.
But it looks like it's donnellymo@gmail.com. So it's not, it doesn't
Correct.
say Margaret there, but I'm sure that's who it is, right?
Yep, that's correct.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's,
It
and
says
they have also
Charles.
received email from Charles at the same address. So don't write anything that you wouldn't want Margaret's husband to see. But I don't think that's an area of concern. I think it's concern here. So yes, no, yes, Margaret's in my email address book as Charles because that's, I think he emailed me about something first, and then when I got her email, it was like, oh, it's the same, never mind, I get it. All right, so everyone has that, can share pictures. Should we be trying to put together any kind of prose right now to share with Margaret for our respective sections.
I mean, I think most of the pros applies. And then there's just little things that we could interject. I mean, once she does sort of like her, I think when she sort of starts to piece together, then we can each take our respective,
Right.
areas, modify. There's nothing terribly unique about Reading, I think, compared to Natick and Winchester. We all kind of have similar.
I mean,
So,
But I can dive
Oh,
into it
Rebecca.
and then figure out where, I need kind of specialty words or specialty information and then reach out to
Yeah.
each of the pillars on the committee.
yeah, well, we can't do too much reaching out and back and forth again. That's again our problem. We'll have to actually have a meeting to talk about this stuff, which is fine.
Yeah.
Future meeting.
But I
agendas.
mean, our next meeting can be really focused on,
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah. At this point, I
Yes.
feel like we've done, we talked about a couple more outreaches that we'll try to do. We'll do them if we can. If we can't, it's not the end of the world. And our next meeting is gonna be about this report.
Okay, sounds
I
good.
think our record, because I went back and looked at this at one point. There were slide decks and or written materials from each of the pillar committees.
Yeah,
And then there was your summary of the discussion or the presentation in the meeting minutes for each of the pillar areas. And they did a pretty good job in terms of preserving the substance of that presentation and discussion.
anything that's in the minutes wasn't written by me. It was
Okay.
written by Jax.
Okay, well, someone did a good job.
So, but you are certainly welcome to refer back to the minutes. That is a resource that Margaret has already without anybody sending anything. That's true.
Next time you're running the meeting.
I think the place that we are short on pictures though is recreation. Because recreation gave us a list of a dozen or so things that we would like to spend CPA money on, but did not back any of it
Right.
up with photos.
Right. I don't think there were any, right?
Yeah, so if you had access to that list of what the projects are,
Yep.
that would be the place to go
Reach
look
out,
for
Matt, and-
photos.
Yeah, just read out to Jim, and be like, hey, Jim, can we get pictures of things that we
Yeah.
want money for? And I suspect that Jim will have no trouble coming up with pictures of things that we either got or want money for, or
Right.
both.
And maybe also the Birch Meadow could have been paid by
Oh, yeah, no,
CPA.
I was gonna say, Birch Meadow
for sure.
is.
Phase 1 and 2 could have been paid.
I was gonna say phase 2 doesn't look pretty yet, but
Yeah,
phase 1 certainly looks good already, and
But even not looking pretty, looking under construction, look at all this money we are right now spending to build this thing that if we had had CPA, we could have paid for out of
Right.
CPA.
Right. and I think there were several towns that use CPA funds for adaptive sports equipment. And I don't know where Reading is on that. Do you know, Kate?
Yes, they do. So Sarah, we have two members on the recreation committee who have personal experience with adaptive recreation through their children. And they are great advocates on the committee. And so I've been on the committee so long. I would say more than 10 years ago, we tried to incorporate it more into our programming, and we weren't that successful at it. And these two new board members have come back, and so it's a definite priority now with the committee. And they have incorporated some programming and I think they've contracted out to some private vendors and are teaming with other towns, Wakefield, Winchester, that sort of thing, to get better programming. But that would be right in the wheelhouse right now. It's a hot topic for us.
actually,
Yeah.
I should pass on a question that I think you forwarded a question from a resident about was that you forwarded me the question about
Yes.
adaptive sports, and the thing is, so
United,
but we're talking about the same thing, unified sports.
Unified
adaptive
sports,
yeah.
They're I think there's probably a subtle distinction in terms of unified specifically implies variety of different abilities participating together, but the point in both cases is to include people with disabilities. So do we need any? We probably don't. The thing about like recreation and CPA intersect in the parts of recreation that happen outdoors. We can't buy basketballs or other kind of, that kind of equipment, even those things are like a very small capital expense. With CPA money. Is there anything relating to, the question was like, can we use CPA to fund unified sports? And my thought was probably not, because I think most of the expense would be for programming operational costs. But
Was that the group that Burbank was trying to,
I've heard
Direct funds to-
rumors here, and I'm not even sure if I should comment on rumors.
okay, no, they were more than rumors.
Well, nobody's come to FinCom about adding anything to the budget about anything or allocating any of the town's money differently here. So I'll, I think they have come to recreation and school committee, which was
Selectmen.
okay.
I just really quickly, I'm looking on the CPA thing and they're talking about, I did a search for adaptive sports and they talk about ADA access. They talk about summer camp, recreation things. I know I think, does Reading still do a summer camp program?
Yes,
Okay. They talk, there's a couple other ones here. I mean, there's like a whole bunch of things here. If anybody else wants to go, you can put anything in the search box and it'll pull up any town that's done anything that has that in it. So like accessible playground equipment. I see that in the top. So
Okay.
just to say,
Yes, we're a little, I'm realizing we're a little off topic, but this was a question about that's relevant to the outreach to recreation for one thing.
Right.
I can anchor it back in the agenda that way. But it was also a resident question to Martha that she looked me in on whether to use it for that.
Were you using, just to go back one step more, about the use for indoor recreational facilities?
I don't think it can be, can it?
I don't know. It's a good question.
I don't think so. I think it's part of the open space umbrella, so together with obviously conservation. But it's pretty, it's a big, just open space, just outdoor recreational facilities are a significant fraction of that $10 million that
Oh, yeah, I know. Yeah.
So like only the outdoor recreation, there's a lot of ball fields and there's still not enough, according to a lot of people.
well, like, can I just say, for instance, at Matara Cabin, when they made that adaptive like bird area, that raised up area, for, so anyway.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, it's the first accessible, hiking path or, nature path in Reading for Melitz Morgan.
Yeah. Okay.
That would have been.
With the observation deck out in the middle of the field.
Yeah, no, that kind of trail, building ADA accessible trails in conservation land is totally fair game for CPA. All right, is there anything else? So Margaret has the minutes, Margaret will have the existing Natick and Winchester presentations. Everyone should send Margaret pictures so that Margaret has pictures. I will send charts, which is sort of the finance committee equivalent. I'd like to send you a picture of $1 million. Anyway, is there anything else that we need to send to Margaret before we meet again to talk about? No. All right, so then we should talk about when we're meeting again. Future meetings. Sorry, everybody. So the elephant in this calendar room in November is town meeting.
Right.
So, there goes, and then the other elephant, there's a lot of elephants in this room, because once you get past town meeting, you get to Thanksgiving. There is, the week of the 17th could have town meeting. I think it's unlikely, but possible. So Monday in particular would be out. I am looking basically as soon as possible because, if you go back too far, you start running into the holidays.
What about Monday the 24th? It's not quite Thanksgiving. It's not
Yeah.
like Thanksgiving Eve.
I could do the 24th. I could also do the 20th.
Oh, Margaret, you're muted. which might be,
I don't think I'd be ready to do a deep
Sure.
dive yet. I mean, I would probably look, I don't know,
Okay.
go to December 1st.
Okay,
that's, yeah, fine by,
That works.
Yeah.
okay.
so.
Is that good for you, Sandy?
I'm looking, what day?
December 1st.
December 1st.
Yeah,
Yeah,
fine.
just making sure it's not a Hanukkah, that's on the 14th.
Yeah, no, that's later. I already got the menorah on lighting on the common on my calendar
Great.
thing. So, okay,
Okay, so we're doing 7:30 on Monday, December 1st?
if 7:30 is still okay with folks.
Yep.
And in terms of agenda, it's gonna be that report. I guess we can also talk about any, outreach that happens between now and then, of course, we can talk about it, but I wanna maybe spend less than an hour and a half on it like we did today. Other anything else that we wanna make a note of to make sure it gets on the agenda for next time? Once going twice. Yeah. I should probably reach out to this select board at some point and ask about, like, get on the same page with them about talking to them and presenting to them in January. I don't think we've actually said that to them. Carlos not here to join Zoom very late. Let me check. No, okay. So. All right.
Is it appropriate at some point for us to talk, like with Carlo present? Our strategy, for lack of a better word, with like.
I might have a better word. I would like to know, I'm about to say, if we can get Carlo, I would love to hear his thoughts on what the select board would like to know. What we should be sure to focus on in our, because we'll have a written report, but we'll also give them a presentation. What he thinks he'd like to focus on in that. I mean, there are, how much does it cost is kind of the bingo free square, that's definitely gonna be there. But what else? Is there anything else? I think it's a good question.
Would that be a question you could send to Carlo outside the meeting, or does he have to actually sit in the meeting with us to ask him that question? Because if you could send him an email
I
and
could
have
do,
him send the report back if he doesn't show up.
I can do one better. I can email the select board. Select board at,
All of them,
readingma.gov or whatever it is.
and that's not gonna be an open meeting violation.
I can talk to all of them as much as I want. I'm just, they can't respond, they can't reply all.
Okay,
They can reply individually to me, that's fine, and sometimes they do. You write to the select board and one member of the select board will write back and say, oh, thank you for your excellent comment or whatever. I have the same concern, kind of thing.
okay,
But yeah, so totally fine for them to write back to me and for me to report that to everybody here.
Good.
So I think that's actually a good thing. Email select board and ask for what they would like to hear. And yes, that's going on my to-do list. Cool. That's an easy email to write, so it's not a big thing on the to-do list. All right. So yeah, I'll make sure that there's a place to put whatever feedback we get from the select board into our next meeting too.
do we want to book our next meeting after that, just because things get busier and busier? Do we want a second meeting in December to work on this report?
Do we want it? Oh, heck no. Do we need it? Quite possibly.
Probably makes sense to put it on the calendar.
Yeah, exactly. We can save the date as it were. Let's see. Doing Mondays.
My Mondays are all free.
Mine are fine as well. I don't even see select board starts to meet some odd times in December because they're giving budget presentations, but the only one I see is on a Wednesday.
What if
But
we
just-
do weeks later on
December-
15th?
Yeah, I was gonna say December 15th.
That's
I don't-
Hanukkah. Does that matter if I do?
Oh,
Oh, that, yeah.
um, yeah,
Can we skip that one?
No, it's fine. If I'm the only one speaking to it, I don't know if I am, but it's fine by me.
I mean, it's not,
Oh, because it's one of the 8 days of Hanukkah, but it's not
Yeah,
the Hanukkah.
it's not particularly significant,
Okay.
evening.
Alright, yeah.
Okay.
All right, I mean, it is other, yes, Hanukkah notwithstanding, if the schedule for that works well, because
I-
that's gives us 2 weeks
I
to.
can, I was gonna say, we have our concert, December 6th, so we don't have rehearsals for the month of December after that, so I could do a Tuesday night in December if that works for anyone.
But think about when does, I should know this, when does Hanukkah start?
That's not working.
Okay, yep, I see, evening of the 14th, so the, right, the 15th is, yes. Second,
That's fine. If you want to do that,
Okay.
work for
Okay.
everybody.
15th. It would be better for me to stick to the 15th. if we can.
Okay,
all right, let's go with that then. I mean, I'm still, still annoyed at the Trails Committee for having done a meeting on Yom Kippur. But,
That's a lot more significant.
it's exactly, that's a very different kind of holiday. And it's not, yeah, so. All right, cool, okay, so I've got the first and the 15th marked. The Zoom made a sound. I don't know why.
I think it
Alright.
was,
Okay. All right. Cool. All right, that's actually looks like a plausible schedule to me. Like with those meetings, I believe we will have a report and it will be good. Is there anything else for minutes? All right, well, let's look at the minutes. Which besides serving the useful purpose of reminding me to talk to Laura Jen. Did people have other comments or questions on the minutes? The minutes say that Sarah and Kate were gonna present historical commission on the 5th. I don't know what happened there. Anyway, it's all right.
yeah, sorry about that.
It's okay.
Get done, that's.
I mean, it's exactly like that's a upside surprise. So. All right. Just looking around to make sure people have a chance to look. Don't see a lot of comments or questions.
I read them over before this meeting and they looked good.
I did too.
All right. And I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of our meeting from September 29th if presented.
So made,
Second,
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Martha. Last chance for comments before we vote. All right, starting on Zoom, Sarah,
Yes, I accept.
yep, Margaret,
yes,
Sandy,
Yes,
Kate,
yes,
Martha,
yes,
and Joe, yes. Who wants to move to adjourn?
I do.
at 9:05.
second,
Didn't quite make 9 o'clock, sorry, folks. Thank you, Sandy, thank you, Kate.
Yes,
All votes, Sarah, yes, Margaret, yes, Sandy,
yes.
Kate, yes,
Yes.
Martha,
Yes.
and Joe, yes. Thank you all for another productive meeting.
Yeah, good job, everyone.
thank you.
Joe, you're gonna let me know who's the co-presenter for Wednesday? or
Yeah,